Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mike Vogiatzakis show. He is here somewhere. There he is. He's kind of hiding at the moment. I guess we're playing hide and go seek. It's all right. We've got lots to come on tonight's show. We've got a great program planned out for you. Real talk and real action. Tonight we're diving into one of the most pressuring issues facing our city, the catch and release program, and how it's fueling chaos in the streets of Winnipeg. We'll also discuss the growing violence that Winnipeg Transit has been seeing lately, including a disturbing incident that happened on a bus just this past week, and what it means for the safety of riders, drivers, and the community as a whole. It's all coming up. Stay with us. There's much more to come right here on the Mike Vogiatzakis show right after this. All right, welcome back to the program, everybody. Mike is all set to go. We're just getting our information up here. We've got a lot to get to tonight. And, Mike, it's an evening filled with, well, a lot of crime involved since Winnipeg seems to be a city filled with that. And obviously we've got a lot to get to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to go back and figure out what's going on, because obviously we haven't done another test between last week and this week in terms of you having to be here and giving us a little bit of a test run.
So I'll tell you what, while you're doing that, I'm going to say hi to some of the folks that are with us today.
Sure.
And thanks for joining us. Dan Ross, wow, Dan, you beat Gord, who's always number one, but way back there now. So hi, Dan Ross. He says, good evening, folks. Gord, number 2 tonight. Hi, Mike. Kathy Tickle. Hi, everyone. Michelle says, hi, everyone. Have a happy day. Al Bueller, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Al. He's probably just woken up. From my home near Beausejour. Mike, hello, everyone. I'm just chilling out at the Fly-In J in Saskatchewan. Saskatoon, actually. Wow. He's always somewhere, eh, Mike? You're like a traveling sales guy, just all over the place. Brooke says, hello, Debbie. Hi, guys, gals. Happy hump day and happy Wednesday. Good evening, Mike and Brad, from Brenda. Al Bueller, there he goes. Now he has it right. Hi, Mike Vogiatzakis and Brad Wilder. So it seems like it's going to be an action-packed show tonight. A lot of people joining us. Hello, Cindy. Hope you're doing well. Looking great. Sharp, she says. Janet. Hi from Smithers. Susan Alec. Hi, Mike and Brad from, she forgot to write down the rest, but she's going to say from Wayne, who works with us at the funeral home. Just coming back from Fort St. John's, BC, and waiting for another trailer tonight. So southern Saskatchewan. Wow. Busy man. Lulu says, hello. Diane's on the show. Glad you're staying on air with us. So just want to let you know that Ask the Funeral Director will be on once in a while. I know we've been getting a lot of calls at the funeral home going, what happened to Ask the Funeral Director? Is it gone? Is it gone forever? Have you guys buried it? Or are you bringing it back in the future? So a lot of people like the questions on Ask the Funeral Director, and it's really helped them out as they're trying to make funeral arrangements. A loved one passes away, whether it's here in Manitoba or somewhere else. It just gives you that information that you need. So we'll be bringing back Ask the Funeral Director. And a lot of people say, well, why did you change the show? Why not Ask the Funeral Director? Why the Mike Vogiatzakis Show? Well, the Mike Vogiatzakis Show is a show that we could talk about everything that's happening in life. And in the near future, maybe May of 2026, you may see me running for mayor in the city of Winnipeg. And this gives us a platform beforehand to talk and get to know each other and talk about topics that are important, and answer your questions. It's going to be a fun time. And the show is full of exciting questions and answers. And if you have a question, or if you want us to talk about a certain topic, you can put it on the screen, and we will get to that topic eventually. I'm a big Winnipeg Jets fan and Blue Jays, so a whole bunch of action going on in sports. The good thing about the Mike Vogiatzakis show is we could talk about all that too. We could talk about sports, we could talk about weather, we could talk about whatever we want. And sometimes you run out of things to say when you're just doing a funeral director's show. You know what I mean? There's only so many funeral things that you could talk about before you're answering the questions over and over again. So it's interesting that you can have a show like the Mike Vogiatzakis show that gives us what we need and allows us to answer the questions you have. And it's always good to have Brad on the show. Always going to be with me, whether it's
Great,
this show
great
or
job
another
with
show.
that, man. I mean, that took a little bit of pressure off me. I needed that for just a quick second here, but we got everything back on track. You know, I got to say hi to this guy who we didn't say hi to last week. He got a hold of me during the week, and he was complaining that we never said hello to him. And and he specifically me, I guess, because, I mean, you know, you're a busy man. He understands that.
Well, how about this? How about this before you get to that? You know, Brad and I had been on the air with each other for quite. We had our first fight the other day. It was like a husband and wife fighting. Well, it wasn't really a fight. Kind of an argument. Not even that, eh, Brad?
Not even that.
You know, the one thing about friendship is, you know, you can have a friend that you haven't seen in years, and you can meet up with them, and bang, you're back on track again. That's Brad and I. And
Not after the other day.
yeah, that's it. It's funny.
Did you see my look, folks?
Oh, you can talk about your friend now.
You're gonna watch the show after. You're gonna see my look at when you said that. Okay, that glare was.
I interrupted you when
piercing.
you were talking about your friend. So
That always happens on the show. So
There
I
you
just
go.
learned to shut up.
I'll let you talk about your friend.
Okay, so well, he's your friend too, but he said, hey,
We have the same friend.
you know, you didn't say hi to me last week. I had to have extra beer. I said, man, you know, that takes away from that counseling you're getting. I said, you either go to counseling or you get the beer. Which is it? He says, well, tonight for the show, I think I want the beer. I said, well, then hi, Al Bueller.
Hi, it's Al Bueller. Jeez.
There you go, buddy.
Jeez.
I did my part, all right?
So like I was saying,
And no, it wasn't a lover's spat. There's no love here. Ooh.
oh, Bradley.
He's the wife.
Oh, no.
Daryl. We can make sure that.
Daryl, check
right.
this out, man.
You can see who's bigger on the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop slouching
Oh,
now.
man. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mike Vogiatzakis show, where there's real talk and real action in the show. Tonight, we're diving right into the one of the most pressing issues that exists today and is causing chaos on our streets. We're going to discuss the growing violence on Winnipeg transits, including a disturbing incident that Brad was saying earlier that took place this week on a bus. Stay with us. There's much more to come on the Mike
You're
Vogiatzakis
reading my
show.
part.
But right now, oh man. Anyways, we're gonna get serious now, right, Brad?
Well, I'm
and get into
hoping
the
you
show.
are.
Thank you for joining us. Ask the Funeral Director again. We'll be on the odd time when we have special funeral director shows, but for now on, it's the Mike Vogiatzakis show with your host, Brad, and always glad to have Brad with me. He's a great guy. And all those things I said to you the other day, Brad, I don't mean any of them. I really.
I know you don't. It's all right. We have a mutual respect for each other that goes deeper than just screaming and hollering.
Well, thank you, Brad, and good evening to all the viewers tuning in from across all platforms. Tonight's show hits close to home for every Winnipegger who's tired of seeing the repeat offenders walk free, tired of hearing no resources, tired of hearing and living in fear in their own neighborhoods. The catch and release system isn't working, and we're going to break down how it's impacting families and what needs to change to bring safety back to our streets. For me, this isn't just another story or another case number. As many of you know, on January 24th, 2024, my younger brother Kyriakis was murdered right here in Winnipeg in the parking lot of his own family restaurant the cork and flame. His killer, Curtis Dale Buzik, was a known repeat offender, a man who had a long, violent criminal record. Despite the years of convictions, assaults, and breaches, he was still walking free under a system that puts offenders ahead of victims.
Mm-hmm. Now, publicly reported the history of the accused is what, Mike? We've got a lot of charges there that he is facing, obviously, and he's obviously faced in the past because it was a catch and release. So let's quickly talk about that. You know, Winnipeg police identified the deceased as Kyriakos Vogiatzakis and charged Curtis Ross Dale Bozic with manslaughter and uttering threats in connection to the January 24th, 2024 incident. Now, a lengthy record with multiple outlets reporting Dale Bozic has, well, this big criminal rap sheet. A Winnipeg Free Press article of January 29th, 2024 explicitly stated that he has a long criminal record and notes mental health issues. Another Free Press report, March 22nd, 2024, again refers to a lengthy record and mentions a probation disposition shortly after the homicide. Prior compliance issues, while there was a police bulletin that was put out, even the Morden police archived the release and lists a warrant November 25th, 2019 for Dale for failing to comply with probation for Curtis Dale Bozic. He turned himself in and was released on an appearance notice. Now, the justice system has failed Mike's brother and failed his family, and it continues to fail countless other families across the city. And this is what the system looks like, Mike. And I know your ambitions are to make sure that families are protected here in Winnipeg. And should you run and become mayor, the bottom line is that it comes down to business, and it's not about photo ops. It's not about getting out in the community and cutting ribbons. It's about getting the job done, and some of that's going to be, a long process, and you're probably more than aware of that. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And when my brother's memorial service, when I did it out in the parking lot at the Cork and Flame, you were there. And one thing I said is that I will make a change in my brother's memory.
That's
I will
right.
make change in my brother's memory, and I will, Kyriakos' name won't just go missing. It'll stand for many things in the city, and that's what I plan to do. See, with my brother, it's just not another statistic. Deaths like this shatter families, grieving families, and communities living in fear. My brother's life was taken because of our laws that have no backbone, our courts that have no accountability, and our leaders that have no courage to make change. Tonight, I'm not speaking as a politician or a funeral director. I'm speaking as a brother who lost someone he loved because the system looked the other way. Winnipeg deserves better. Our city deserves justice that protects the innocent, not the criminals who destroy lives daily. They look at the bigger picture. My brother's story is not an isolated tragedy. It's one of hundreds across the city. Every single week we hear about another violent assault, another stabbing, another death, often involving someone who was already out on bail, probation, or parole. The catch and release system allows repeat offenders to walk the streets hours or days after being arrested. These are not first-time offenders. Many have criminal records stretching back years. They reoffend again and again because there's no real consequences, no deterrent, and no accountability. The courts are overloaded, the jails are full, and the public pays the price with their safety, their peace of mind, and sometimes with their lives. Meanwhile, victims' families are left to pick up the pieces, wondering how the justice system failed them when they're supposed to protect them. They keep releasing the very people destroying their communities. I've spoken to police officers, paramedics, and even prosecutors who all say the same thing. They're frustrated, just like the citizens of Winnipeg. They arrest the same individuals over and over, only to see them walk free before the ink is even dry on the paper. This isn't justice. This is insanity. We need real reform, tougher bail laws, mandatory sentencing for repeat violent offenders, and accountability for judges who keep turning criminals loose out on the public. Brad earlier talked with another family who lost a loved one. And we're going to play a video that you need to see. And this is just going to prove that the catch and release system has not only affected my family, it's affected thousands of families. And this mom is going to share her story. Sit back and...
We need to go to the bus video possibly first. I got to get the other video dialed
Let's do
up.
the bus video first. But before we do that, we're gonna talk about violence on buses. And, you know, since the word is out that I possibly will be running for mayor May of 2026, a lot of people have been talking to me about all kinds of things. And maybe you've been following me on Facebook, and if you haven't, you should. I'm posting some pretty serious topics almost every single day. And one thing that kind of drives me crazy a little bit is people say to me more often than none, why are you not doing something about it? Why are you not releasing your platform? Well, that would be silly for me to release a platform when I'm not the mayor of this city. Scott Gillingham is. Any platform that should be released should be from Scott Gillingham. I've already let platforms out about the justice system, crime and violence on our streets. And as you could tell, Mayor Scott Gillingham is on a mission, and that mission is to get reelected. It's hard to beat an incumbent mayor, but I feel that the city of Winnipeg has my back, and I feel the city of Winnipeg wants change. I also feel the city of Winnipeg wants somebody who's compassionate, caring, who's going to take care of you and your families, care about you and your families. You know, I'm on a mission, and that mission is to honor my brother's memory because he was murdered in the city of Winnipeg, and I was not happy with the way the murder was handled. I was not happy with the lies. I was not happy with the delays. Part of those delays were delays we've talked about when I made videos about the paramedics and firefighters and how the average call, and we talked about this with my father-in-law who sat on his lawn for 6 hours. A 93-year-old man sat on his lawn for 6 hours before an ambulance arrived. And to me, that's heartbreaking. And that brings me back to my brother who lay on the street for 25 minutes. 25 minutes unattended, uncared for, until the first ambulance finally arrived. And this is why we need to stand up and make a difference. And we need to take care of the people that are taking care of us. And, you know, on the way here, I had a text message from a person, and he said, Mike, what do you think of the city of Winnipeg employees, the people that work for the city of Winnipeg? What would you do for them? And I simply said this: it's the city of Winnipeg employees that keep the wheel turning. It's those employees that go to work every single day and try to do the best they can to try to keep our city running. But it's about the systems and procedures. That's what's broken. The leadership is broken. And if we don't have proper leadership telling the employees of the city of Winnipeg what to do, then we're stuck in a rotating circle that keeps going round and round. And that's why I've decided to stand up and make a change. And I truly believe that this city and the citizens of the city definitely have my back. And I believe that if I run, I will be the next mayor of Winnipeg. And be assured, if I do become the next mayor of Winnipeg, it's going to benefit every single person who's a citizen of the city. You know, not only will I spend time with you know, the people of the city, but I'll spend time talking to your children in schools, you know, through public appearances to motivate them and let them know that they have hope and they have a future in the city of Winnipeg. And to me, that's really important because our children are lost and many of them are living in darkness. And now let's turn back the page and talk about me being a funeral director. We've witnessed the highest suicide rate that I've ever seen since the COVID pandemic. And that's because these kids are lost. And a lot of them can't find work, and a lot of them have lost hope and feel that they have no future.
No jobs.
No jobs. And we need to keep talking to our children. So one thing that I will be doing is, trust me on this, is cutting the red tape, cutting the bureaucracy, and cutting the connections to the rich and the wealthy. I'm your average citizen. And even when I go to work at the funeral home, I'm an average guy.
No Manitoba room with stogies and cognac?
I don't take part in the Manitoba room now, and I probably will never take part in that. That's not me. I'm going to be a down-to-earth citizen like I am now, going to work, making a difference, and caring about the citizens, the people, and the city in general. And you know, I got to tell you something. I love the city of Winnipeg. It's home. I grew up here.
You've had multiple businesses.
I've
here.
raised. I was raised here in the city, and my mom and dad loved Winnipeg, and I grew up on Toronto Street between Sargent and Ellis, and it was a great place to grow up, and the schools were amazing, and made a lot of friends, and I saw that neighborhood just fall apart. And it breaks my heart to know that we would be out on the streets until the wee hours in the morning having fun, and now that just can't happen anymore.
So we've got a video to play of this lady at a Portage La Prairie. She managed to make it to, I'm not sure whether this is here in Manitoba or if this is actually outside of Manitoba in Ottawa, but let's take a quick look at this video. It's something that I think is important for Manitobans to see and understand.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing us to share our story of our beautiful daughter, Kelly. My name is Michelle, and my husband, Ron, is beside me, and we are here today as grieving parents. At 28 years old, Kelly had built a full and beautiful life. She was a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a granddaughter, a fiancé, and a friend to many. She and her fiancé, Travis, were planning their dream wedding for this June. We were supposed to watch her walk down the aisle. On January 15th, our world stopped. Kelly was killed that day. We were on our way to meet her to prepare for her grandfather's funeral, who had passed just 48 hours earlier. Her fiancé, Travis, and I got the call from the RCMP asking us to meet them. As we drove there, I called my husband and our son Michael. When we arrived, the RCMP told us the complete unthinkable, that our daughter was gone. Over the next few days, we learned that the man who killed her had a warrant for his arrest issued at the time of the incident. He had breached bail conditions for previous crimes involving drugs and theft. That morning, he had stolen a truck, driven it towards Portage La Prairie, and caused a crash that killed my daughter. After the collision, he kicked out the truck's window and fled on foot. When he was caught, he had a large amount of methamphetamine in his system. He was taken into custody, appeared before a judge, and unbelievably was later granted bail, again. Despite killing our daughter while out on a warrant, the system decided to give him yet another chance. We attended the bail hearing along with our MLA and Mayor of Portage La Prairie and family members. The judge ruled that he could be released to a behavioral health unit in Winnipeg, Manitoba, once a bed became available. He was ordered not to drive, not to use drugs, and to follow the law. When the spot became available, he was transferred to that facility. We believe within hours, he had escaped again. To this day, we do not know how long he was in that facility. When we found this out, my stomach sank with the same sick feeling I had the day Kelly was killed. My greatest fear was that he would hurt someone else or flee. And why wouldn't he? That behavior was entirely predictable. The judge had assured us that if he breached bail again, a warrant would be issued immediately. But there was already a warrant out for his arrest when he killed my daughter. What good are these reassurances? They mean nothing. This man was granted bail 3 times in 2 weeks before Christmas 2024. On New Year's Eve, he breached his conditions again, and a warrant was issued. In 14 days before he killed my daughter, he stood before a judge 3 times. 3 times he was given bail. 3 times he walked away. Why does someone who shows no respect for the law, the police, the judges, or for society keep getting another chance? We hear a lot these days about rights, constitutional rights, individual rights, the rights of the accused. But what about our rights? What we do know is that what we're doing right now is not working, and we need change. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same things in the same manner, repeatedly, and expect a different outcome. In my view, this is where we are at in the criminal justice system. What about Kelly's right to safety? What about our right to live in a country where the laws protect the innocent, contributing people to our society? Who's defending those rights when repeated offenders are released again and again, only to reoffend, sometimes within hours? Our communities are in crisis. Our justice system is broken. And somewhere along the way, we've started to accept this as normal. It's not normal, and it's not acceptable. If you hear anything from me today, hear this. The cost of these failures is measured in lives, in grief, in trauma, and in fear of repeated criminals on our streets. As a mother, as a Canadian, I expect better from my government. I expect that you will fix a system that keeps putting dangerous people back on our streets. We need you all to do the hard work, fix our broken system. It's your job, and it's what we expect. Thank you for having us.
Well, Mike, there you go. Another concerned citizen about not only the catch and release program, but also about the safety of citizens. She could have sat there and cried the whole time and wept and talked about her daughter. That was not her concern as much as it was everyone else's concern. And that says a lot about a person, doesn't it?
But, you know, that's a grieving mom. It's a grieving mom trying to carry herself through the death of her child. And, you know, she's living everyone's worst nightmare, and that's the death of your child. It doesn't matter how old it is. It's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, even at the funeral home time after time again, when I see people come in who are burying their children and they're broken, it's totally different when it's not cancer or a heart attack or a sickness that a person was living through. It's different when it's murder. When it's murder, it just touches your heart in a different way. No goodbyes, just gone, brutally. And you have to live with the facts of how they died. And it plays over in your mind over and over again. And it's heartbreaking. And I said this last week, or maybe on a post that I did this week, and it almost puts tears in my eyes. Every time I look at my mom, and I could see the pain through her eyes, the pain in her soul that's breaking her every day to lose her youngest son. That's what a mother goes through.
Not an easy day.
The pain to have to face trial afterwards and see your son's killer face to face. It's not easy. These people that are struggling day in and day out, losing loved ones to a system that's failing us is wrong. And at some point, the judges have to have accountability for what they're doing. You know, you look at this person who killed a daughter, a stolen truck, left the scene, gets arrested. And after all that, he's released again? Like, was the judge drinking the night before? Because that's like out of this world. Would he release his son's killer or his daughter's killer the next day under these circumstances? Probably not. There's got to be a time where these judges need to feel the pain of these families. And the pain is devastating. And I've gone through that pain over and over again. And, you know, when some people say to me, why are you doing what you're doing? It's because of my brother, because of the love I had for my brother, and because the love my brother had for the city. He loved Winnipeg, and he died on these very streets that he loved. Why? Because the system failed him. The system failed us. This wasn't a drug dealer. This wasn't a guy who was, you know, committing crimes on a daily basis. This was a restaurant owner employing people, going to work to try to make a living and try to make a better Winnipeg. Kyriakis fed people that were hungry. Kyriakis ran his business with his heart. And that's something our parents taught us to do.
And the guy that did this lived in a halfway house and in Headingley and Stony Mountain along the way, plus other rehab and all kinds of other facilities. It's a sad situation. We're all in here, Mike. It needs correction. Now, let me ask you something. I don't know much about being a mayor because I've never even thought about it until, well, I guess the last 5 years I've considered a whole bunch of things. Prime Minister's out of my league, I guess. Something about an orange blonde-haired guy standing in Ottawa wouldn't be good next to the other guy from down south. Anyway, they're just joking, everybody. But nonetheless, listen, are you able as mayor to sit down in front of judges and have that discussion about where they're headed, or is that something the premier has to do?
You know, I would, as mayor of a city, you obviously have a lot of respect, and you have a lot of connections, and you have a lot of strings you could pull, right? And one of those strings that I would pull as mayor of the city is I would definitely sit with judges And I would definitely voice my concerns.
Manitoba Room might be in your future.
in the issues, and it wouldn't be at the Manitoba Room. You know, I've never been.
You call them to your office.
I've never been what you call an upper class, citizen. I've been a normal citizen who works hard, blue collar. Is that what you call them?
Yeah.
And I just believe that everyone's equal. And one thing I've learned in the funeral business is, death is the final equalizer. So I've never gone to a grave that's wealthier than the other grave. Death is the final equalizer. No matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter what you've accomplished in your life, death is the final equalizer. And I've lived my life like that, knowing that we're all the same. Some people struggle and some people don't, but it's about helping each other to get through it.
That's right.
And you can do a lot of positive things, as Mayor, and I seen Daryl said that, yes, you'll be attacked and it's not easy. Yes, I know. It's a hard hill to climb. But I'm willing to climb that hill, and I'm willing to climb that hill for change. And I want to leave a footstep on the city that's going to last forever. I want the changes I make to go down in history.
Let's say footprint instead of step, because it sounds like you're crushing it.
Footprint. I want to leave.
You want to crush it too, don't you?
I want to leave a footprint on the city that's going to last forever and go down in history.
There was a question earlier on in the show, and I caught it. I'm not sure who it was by, but nonetheless, it was about the Arlington Street Bridge going north and south. Like, that is a major blockade there. What are you going to do about that for mayor? Come on, you can speak up about that
If I was a mayor of the city,
Solutions.
first of all, I'll tell you a solution that I would have had. I would have never spent $50 million on Portage and Main.
Converted the paddle wheel into a flatbed?
I would have definitely 100%
one car at a time?
taking care of issues like the Arlington Bridge. And those bridges are important because that's the heart into the north end.
So how much does the city mayor actually have, I guess, clout with the province and the premier
the city's
and
mayor
getting that
is,
funding and money?
The city's the mayor really takes care of the infrastructure of the city. And when you deal with the infrastructure of the city, you need to work with a good premier. And then you need to work with a good prime minister. And I know for a fact that I can 100%.
Crack me up.
I can make Winnipeg a great city to be in.
What if you have to
again.
work with a bad one or two?
It's the influence you have. It's the influence you have as a person, how you talk with people, and how you ask for things. And I have a way.
Well, you did great the other day in that fight we had.
I have a way with people, and it's not demanding. It's talking to people respectfully. And
the way you left after you said what you said to me, that was awesome. Just, that's all I got to say. I'm out the door. I got you. It's good.
Jeez, Brad. Oh, man. So, I can answer.
Don't get
Brad,
flustered.
a lot of people, one thing that frustrates me about anything, and I get attacked for this all the time, I can tell you one thing, and Brad knows this. I have real solutions to these problems that are in Winnipeg.
True story.
These aren't made up, and that's why I say my decisions will go down in history. Not only that, I'm not a guy just talking off the stool of my feet. I'm getting down and dirty and talking to every part of the city of Winnipeg, every division. I'm talking with people. I'm sitting with them. I'm asking them questions. I'm trying to find out what's broken, and I'm trying to get to the root of the problem and fix it from the bottom up so it's completely fixed forever and not broken. Every little problem that we have has a cure. It really does. And we just need to put the energy into it. Where are you? Are you part of the World Economic Forum? Are you part of a bigger plan? Are you part of 15-minute cities? Are you part of lockdowns? Are you part of corruption? Are you part of the rich and famous? Well, I'm part of none of that. I'm part of you, the citizens of the city, and my priority is you. And most of all, when I see, there's a girl that came to work for me. Her name is Robin, and she worked with me for 10 years, and she recently, had 2 children. And even my own nieces and nephews and their kids, I look at these little ones, and I just say, God, let me help them have a future like we had, where they could go out and play and have fun and enjoy life, and most of all, have the freedom of speech and the freedom of choice. And if we let them take that away from us, we have nothing. And I believe a mayor can stand up for his city and make a difference in his city. And that's what your job is to be the voice of the city, to take the city in the direction that you want the city to go. Do you think it doesn't break my heart when I drive down the street and I see all these homeless people sitting there? And I say to myself this: every one of those people has a story. Every one of those people had a mom or dad, a brother or sister, and they need to be cared for. And you just can't come down and bulldoze their things down and leave them out in the cold. There's a solution. to take care of the people who are on the street. And we will deal with that. And if I become mayor, I guarantee you one thing. We will not find homeless people on our Winnipeg streets again, or people begging for money and scaring the you-know-what out of people at red lights. Winnipeg needs change, and it needs a person who's going to put his foot down and say, look, enough's enough. Take control of your city.
I believe in you, Mike. I hope you're right on track with everything. I mean, the people are going to speak for you, and that's the thing about this great show is that you guys have a chance out there to help Mike out and help us out by just making sure you get this episode out there to people. 5,000-6,000 people doesn't cut it. We needed to go to the masses. We needed to get everywhere. So, look, this isn't about race, politics, or anything else. The show might be, but realistically, we're just trying to get the right guy into position that is going to end up doing the right thing for the city. Stop taking photo ops. Stop being a man that loves to cut ribbons and get the job done. Look at the budgets. Take a look at the money and the infrastructure, where it needs attention now and what we can build on for the future. There's certain priorities, right, Mike?
And it's funny about another thing. People say, where are you going to get the money from?
Yeah,
Brad and I had this conversation.
Yeah,
the money's already there. The money's already there. It just needs to be allocated to the proper resources.
That's right.
And places. I look at Sandra's comment here where she talks about Happy Land Pool. What a terrible thing. What a destruction Scott Gillingham did there with Matt Allard by taking down a community pool where kids go and play and families get together and picnics take place and all those good things. But, Sandra, I got good news for you. If I become mayor of the city, there will be another Happy Land Pool in St. Boniface where the families can become families and can enjoy it. It's not about taking care of the rich or the new parts of Winnipeg. Everyone deserves equal opportunity. Everyone deserves equal and fair neighborhoods, and that's what I want to do.
Somebody asked me the other day, they said, how long till one of those fourplexes or 12plexes or even an apartment building goes up on that property right next to the creek there?
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. And Scott Gillingham's been big on these.
The underwater parkade every year, because I tell you what, that creek floods every year.
And how about all these, the permission they got to put up these low-income houses anywhere where they want without even going for permits. I think about something the other day. I have the bylaw officers. Every time I talk about Scott Gillingham, I get another $1,200 fine because he sends out his, I call them his goons. But they're enforcement officers or bylaw enforcement officers trying to do their job. But come on, man, that's not your job. How about the other day when I can't remember what her name is from City Council actually funded the thing that took place where the fireworks the other day in the city for the East Indian community.
Oh, that happened just out my back door here in Royalwood.
And you know what? They needed permits to be close to people's homes because you can only allow fireworks to go off by a certain distance from somebody's home. And they were blasting those right beside. As a matter of fact, I watched a video where the fireworks were being blasted right beside this lady's house where a kid sleeps in her room. And, hey, where were the bylaw officers then? Where are the bylaw officers for all these buildings that are falling apart in Winnipeg? For all these... I could go on and on and on.
Are they driving around at nighttime? I don't
but
know.
you got to wonder, well, Janice Lukes, that's who it was. Janice Lukes actually sponsored this event.
There you go.
And paid for it. And violated every bylaw that could possibly happen. There's somebody who's sitting on city council. And let me tell you, if I was the mayor and my councilors went off track and did things that we're finding other people for, that wouldn't sit very well with me.
All right, Mike, it's time to talk about Winnipeg Transit now. We've got to move on. Show's coming to an end pretty quick here, but there's a lot of violence out there, and we've seen it on Winnipeg Transit. We've got a video to play, and it's all set to go. Do you want to take a look at that first?
Let's do the video, and I want you to know that this video was sent to me by a young person under the age of 16 who rides the bus every day, who struggles with anxiety, and had to put up with this. And it must have been terrifying for this little guy to watch this, never mind getting on the bus the next day or getting off the bus. He was literally terrified. I'm going to protect his identity because that's what a good person does.
I just, you look at me. No, that's how. Don't go back us. Call that friend. Hey, stop. 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 Sir, yes? You came attacking me. You came attacking me. Just stop it. Let go of your pressure. I can feel your legs here pushing. Stop, please. Stop. I can feel you pushing. Wait. I need help here. Right here. Okay, stop. We need you to stop.
Let's see if you are
Yes,
getting
you
it down.
can.
Down.
Yes.
Down, down.
Wow, two guys on top like that, still can't. You know, what a situation, Mike.
It's terrible that a young guy had to videotape that and show his mom what goes on the bus, and it's horrifying. The violence we've been seeing lately not just happens against passengers, but also against the drivers. It's deeply concerning. What's going on out there, and why is this happening so often? Transit used to be one of the safest public places in the city. I want to share a story with you. When we were young, we would get on the transit bus and drive around the whole city.
Sure, yeah, we used to ride it all over the place.
And it was fun. And we
met all kinds of girls.
Yeah, we got to see all kinds of things in the city, and that's one thing we did. And I loved the transit system. It was safe. I never saw fights in the bus. I never saw anybody got angry in the bus. Our parents would actually encourage us to get on and just go for the ride. It was a way for families and seniors and students to get where they need to go. But today it's become a daily gamble. Do I get on the bus? Don't I get on the bus? Am I going to get assaulted? Am I going to watch something that I don't want to watch?
Am I going to see the driver getting
Drivers
shot?
are being or threatened, assaulted, even stabbed while doing their jobs.
You know, you put a video up just the other day, yesterday, and it was about that shooting. And it wasn't a shooting because nobody wanted to report it as a shooting. I want you to know something before you say what you're going to say. And your video became old as of this morning, and only because everybody else started to report that it was a shooting now.
Yeah, but you got to ask yourself a question.
Why not the first day, right?
Yeah, and I want to ask you that question, and you should ask yourself that question. Is the media really telling you the truth? You know, Mayor Scott Gillingham should have got on social media or on his mayor page, doing his weekly mayor thing that he does, telling people what happened, telling people that there's an active shooter on a bus who fired 2 shots. One of them hit the driver. Yes, the driver was released after going to a hospital. But imagine how traumatized this bus driver was. He was shot. And did they catch the shooter? Is he still loose? Is he going to get on a bus tomorrow and shoot someone else? And to me, it's not right. It's not being upfront with the city and letting them know what really happened. And even today, I noticed that the Winnipeg Free Press, they also said that an assault took place. I can assure you, it was not an assault. I can assure you, it was a shooting. And I can probably assure you that this person who did the shooting is probably still in the streets.
Did you hear what they were shot with?
They were shot. More than likely, it was a pellet gun.
Not one of those. What do you call them? The balls.
No, it was I'm not too sure, but I mean, either way, pellet gun. They could be really dangerous. You know, a pellet. We've done deaths with people that were been shot with pellet guns in the head. So
Right.
A pellet gun is a weapon.
It can penetrate.
And it can penetrate, and when it does, it can hurt somebody. But the bottom line is, how horrifying would it be, Brad, if you and I were on the bus, for example, going for a ride, and somebody pulls out a gun, and you don't have a gun to defend yourself.
Where does it go? Oh, right, we gave that away.
So no doubt it was a pellet gun.
Sold it back to the government. Right, I remember now.
No doubt, Michelle, it was a pellet gun. Otherwise,
yeah, paint gun. That was the other one.
Paint gun. I think
Paintball
it was
gun.
a pellet gun. From what I saw and witnessed, it was definitely something that can penetrate and powerful. And there wasn't no paint. It was.
And he got shot in the hand, right?
He got shot in the hand. And
So he covered the gun. I got this. No, what is that? Clint Eastwood kind of stuff, man?
You know, one thing I'm going to do is I don't want to release my platform specifically because everyone's going to steal
you're
my
not
ideas.
really running for mayor
and I'm
yet.
not really running for mayor. So I'm just a guy that has no power whatsoever. I'm just your average citizen.
It's all been a joke.
I'm just
April,
a funeral director.
April Fools.
I'm just a funeral director. But what I want to do is I could tell you that I'm in deep talks with the people from transit, and I could tell you that one thing that I will do, and I will do it through calling a press conference. I'm going to release one of my platform promises ahead of time, only so Scott Gillingham can use it, and we can have safety on our buses.
There you go.
So it'll show good faith on my part that I do have solutions to problems. And if you remember, anyways.
There's been a lot of that.
So you got to remember, passengers, especially women, seniors, and kids, are terrified to ride alone. This isn't just random. It's a direct result of a system that's lost control. Many of the same repeat offenders release under the catch and release system end up back on the buses, causing and creating chaos. And let's be honest, there is no real problem for transit workers. The barriers are minimal. There's no constant police or security presence. And when something happens, help is often minutes away. Minutes that can mean life or death. For example, if it was a real handgun that was used that day, imagine how many people could have died on that bus. Winnipeg transit drivers deserve the same protection as the police, paramedics, and firefighters, because they're on the front lines too. We need transit security officers riding buses. We need more cameras, and we need zero tolerance for violence against public workers. The bus should never be a battlefield. Winnipeg deserves better, and our drivers and passengers deserve to get home safe that day and every day.
Gonna give them all a gun? I'm just asking. I wanted to know the truth. Mace, bear spray.
You know, it gives you a good defense when you say, well, maybe you should be able to carry a gun like they do in Texas, and the crime rate is the lowest. Why? Because you can defend yourself.
Because everybody knows the guy next to you's got a gun.
Yeah. What do you do when a person gets on the bus and has a gun and you don't have anything? And you know what? It's funny because you saw these transit workers. I don't know what they are, security, or they're not police officers, but I guess they're transit officers. But they have no mace. They have nothing to defend themselves with.
That's right.
And yet they're getting in the face of these crackheads who are very dangerous, by the way.
No, the crackheads are getting in the face of the bus drivers.
But they're very dangerous. And, you know, a police officer friend of mine said to me, Mike, somebody who's on meth has a strength of 10 people. Like totally unbelievable strength that can really hurt somebody.
Yeah, big time.
And it's really scary when you're
a
facing
little guy
that.
like me could try to take on a guy like you, and you don't stand a chance.
Well, that's what they say,
just
right?
saying, yeah.
The truth is, the bus driver that was assaulted is probably going to be off for quite a while now. You know, whether they call it an assault, whether they call it a shooting, they should call it a shooting. But I wonder what happens when they catch this guy. They catch the shooter. Is he going to be part of the catch and release program? And you know, in this next little while, I'm going to tell you that it's going to be stressful for my family and myself, my brother Peter and Nick and my mom Helen, as we're going to face the guy that killed my brother face to face in the courtroom in November. And I'm hoping that we could call a rally outside the courtroom and get as many people as we possibly can out there to prove to the justice system that there needs to be justice. They need to stand up for the right thing, and they need to make a difference for citizens that lose loved ones, citizens that are in pain, citizens that go through murder of a loved one every single day. Why do I know that? I'm a funeral director. I see it. I see it time and time again where we have to go through victim services because they pay out when somebody gets assaulted or other.
What was the date of that again?
So that's in November. When the day gets closer, I'm going to ask that the first day of trial, that if possible, you come and stand by our family's side and we get the media there.
Come pack the courtroom.
And we pack the courtroom, and we pack the outside of the courtroom. I'm talking about outside of the law courts building. And we have our signs, and we say enough's enough, and we say justice must be served, and enough of the catch and release system. And the real terrible thing about this, and it drives me crazy, drives my family crazy, is think about this. For every day that this person's served in the remand center or in jail, he gets 1.5 days off his sentence. So in all reality, this person's been charged for manslaughter, and I'm going to tell you right now that if I'm not happy with the verdict, I'm going to let the citizens be the judge, because I will play that video. I will block out the parts where my brother was brutally murdered, but I will make it public so people can actually see what happened and see that this cannot be tolerated on our streets. No different than this poor lady that lost her daughter in a motor vehicle accident where a stolen truck hit her. The guy ran from the truck, but was released.
Yeah, that's right. Released right away, too, and that's the problem. There's no accountability there for taking the individual into custody, taking a look at his mental status, taking a look at whether he's on drugs, and if he is on drugs, he should be going and staying in custody and going into some sort of a mental treatment program or a rehab program that is going to get this individual some help. And that's the thing. We keep throwing him back on the street injured and broken, and that's not going to lead to good things, and we need to make sure that that changes at some point.
And you know, Brad, there's like I say, enough with the talk. Action talks louder than words. And I'm telling you right now that if we could get, 500, 1,000 people outside of that court, that speaks volumes.
I say it on Wake Up Canada News all the time.
Yeah.
Remember, you're the voice, and it's time to make it count. There's a reason for that, because if we don't stand up in numbers, we're just not going to get there, folks. You're seeing what's happening in England, Ireland, Europe, all across, and it's happening. It's not happening here, and it has to.
And just like this,
We have to stand up together.
Just like this gun situation, is it because they don't want to put fear into the public, or because admitting the truth would expose just how bad things really are? People have a right to know. Is the shooter still out there?
He
The
is.
public,
He is. He hasn't been
of course,
caught yet.
yes. The public deserves transparency. Families deserve to feel safe when they step onto their bus and send their kids to school. When I speak out, it's not because of fear. It's to demand accountability. Because when stories like this get out or are buried under the water, we're not protecting the public. We're
right.
misleading them. It's time the truth came out. Winnipeg deserves honesty, not half stories, not polished press releases, but facts. The people of the city are not blind, and they're not stupid. They can handle the truth, and they deserve to know it. And Scott Gillingham should be ashamed of himself for not going on a public forum and telling the people what really happened and setting it straight. If you're the mayor of the city and you hear that a violent attack took place on a bus, wouldn't you go tell the citizens what really happened? It wasn't a violent attack. Well, it was violent, but it was a shooting. And that's the bottom line. And there's so much to talk about. This show's going to only get better and better and better.
Well, we said we mentioned the WEF.
Oh.
And what I want to mention briefly, and we're just going to touch on it tonight, and we'll come back to it at some point. But what's going on within our justice system all ties back to the ideology and what's going on there from the UN and the World Economic Forum. They have changed perspectives of the law and justice system. It's starting to happen in British Columbia. They've amalgamated the board that runs the lawyers, so the Law Association or the Law Society. They went from a 17-member all-lawyer board down to only 5 actual lawyers on the board, and the rest are all members of the public. So that's like hiring me to come in there and make decisions on court cases. And again, there's not going to be any recourse for lawyers who get it wrong to be able to correct things and make things better. It's almost like they have to fight the system now as well, just as much as the defendant will. So that being said, this is all part and parcel. We're seeing it happen across the country. And as that starts to happen, again, we need to make people accountable, make people aware, and get some resistance to this, because if we don't start speaking up about it, we're going to see our justice system get even worse. It's not going to get better. They want to defund the police. They'd love to put all the judges, retire them all and let them go sit at home and, do it online, right?
And I want to go one step further than Brad just did. I want you to know that everything that's happening on the streets right now is being done on purpose.
Absolutely.
They want chaos on our streets.
Yep.
They want the judges making the decisions they're making. They want the public living in fear. They want us to be afraid of everything that's happening
Because
to
you know
leave
who
our
comes
house.
and saves them, Mike?
The World Economic
They-
Forum comes
they
and
do.
saves you.
Well, the government comes and saves you.
The government saves you, so
We've
they
got
want
money
this
to
to happen.
protect you. We've got money to save you.
And-
We've got money to feed you. We've got
and
money for everything.
This is where digital ID is going to kick into place, where they make you put that little thing of rice in your hand, and they have total control of everything. And they're going to say, well, in order to control the world and to know what's happening and to catch killers and to catch thieves and to catch people that are doing all these illegal things, you need digital ID so we know where you are, what you're doing. Total control. That's why this is happening.
Digital ID was implemented in Europe today, in London, England,
Yes.
and they've got that basically locked down now. And basically what's going to happen there, Mike, is we're going to see that they're going to get to that net carbon zero point where people are limiting, rationing their food. It'll be, you get either half a steak today, or you can have some eggs and you can have some cheese.
Or
and
you
can
had
have
too
some
much
milk.
water, they cut you off when you're in
Yeah,
water.
that's right.
Listen,
Yeah.
control is
I
not a good
also-
thing.
I also heard that you're only going to be able to buy one electronics item every 7 years. Can you imagine that? One every 7 years.
Remember, the Bible says that if you don't get the mark of the beast, is this the mark of the beast? Who knows? The
We're
Bible
going to talk
talks
about that too.
The Bible talks about that chip,
Yep.
being placed on your hand or your forehead.
Pastor
and,
John Feeks loves to talk
and
about
if you
that
don't
topic.
have that chip, you won't be able to buy, and you won't be able to sell. So here's the big question: until we have this in our show.
That's right.
So when the time comes, when they say, well, digital ID is mandatory, are you going to get the chip? Are you going to allow them to put the chip into your children's hands? Are you going to get it yourself? And if not, how are you going to live? It's a big question.
Off grid.
Off grid.
We'll talk about
Well-
that in another show soon, right?
Yeah.
We have
Well,
to.
we thank you for, please share the show, like the show, follow Brad or myself on our platforms. And that's how we make a difference in this world, by people speaking out. And it takes a lot to speak out, and you jeopardize, myself as a business person, I jeopardize a lot every time I speak out and talk about what people don't want to hear.
I don't give a heck.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition
Not about you, about me. I don't care what they think about me that way.
of the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you and your families.
Good
Brad,
night,
thank you.
everybody. We'll see you next
Good
time.
night.